Hello! Welcome to the channel The Dry Omas, the Three Grandmothers. I'm your host, Carmen. In the video of today, we'll talk about Constantine I, hero or the world mistakes. The political situation in that time for sure wasn't easy. Decisions need to be made. Not everyone can rule, and history will judge your actions. History and calendars have been changed and reset several times. But why is this man so important? Well, we have talked about our past history, the era of the gods. Constantine was the first who reset the calendar to zero. We live in 2024 because of him. The age of gods is over. After the Great Flood and consequentially the Mad Max period when they lost all the technology, eventually new civilizations were emerging, new kingdoms were formalized. They start over again using the resources they had. But it was not only the calendar that was reset to zero, a religion was created. Rome was in decline, thus drastic measurements were needed. Rebellions everywhere. He wanted one empire, one system, one structure of power, and therefore one religion was needed. It's in this point of time when the Abrahamic religions separate. For Muslim and Jewish, it was a blasphemy. But the idea of erasing the past, they love it. They embrace this idea. And they started erasing the past as well in their own way. Constantine I started the machinery that continues to work until these days. Here we can see, for example, in comparison with another calendars, Chinese, Muslim, Buddhist, they have continued with their own calendars. But the Roman Empire was so important in this moment that no one will dare to be an enemy with Rome. They they just have to adapt in their own way to the new rules of Rome. And, and that was not the one single thing he made. 5,000 years of history were compiled in one single character. The Charistus or Christus were a group of several persons who preaches equality among all races. After the Great Flood, the racial conflict even worse. They blame each other what happened, and the group of Christus, they maintained an ancient knowledge of healing and preach fun kindness. But they exist after the Great Flood. The first Jesus that in modern language we can separate in I, male, S, without, us, born, meaning we born without a male, existed before the Great Flood. Even Mary Magdalene, they were two separate women in this history with two separate periods of time. And the main issue is that basically the Bible that was published in this Council of Nicaea and reinforced in the Council in the Feso, they didn't lie. What is written, it happened, but it was with several persons and in a different period of time. One Christus of Christ or Christus was crucified, but the first Jesus existed 1,000 years early. So they just create a character. That is what they did. With this in mind, and having already a consolidated empire, you don't need an army. You just need to send a team with a specific holy mission. Erase the past, erase the history when women rule. In many temples in Egypt, especially dedicated to the cult of Isis, you will find these crosses and several figures were deliberate chiseled so it could not be identified who were here in this temple. Have you seen many sculptures without hands or without noses? They were deliberate, removed. Why? Because these sculptors made some symbols with the hands, like that. In the past, they knew it. The normal people knew it, what these symbols means. And the noses is because it was easy to identify the racial origin. Right now we are mixed, but at that time the noses played a very important role to identify your origins. That was not only in Egypt. In the pre-Islam, we have a lot of evidence. The pre-Islam is referred as a time period before the arrival of the Prophet Muhammad. When the Prophet Muhammad arrived, the Islam was founded. In the pre-Islam, it refers the cult is dedicated to the three daughters of Allah, three women. There was a very important temple in Yemen dedicated to these three women, and it was completely destroyed. If you want to know more about this temple and the demolition of it, you can just search demolition of Dur Khalasa in Yemen. But not only the temple was destroyed, several precepts were made in this regard. The Muslims were told to never allow pre-Islamic idolatry to come back, never return of the Dil al-Khalasa cult. And here is a specific message of the Prophet. The hour will not be established to the buttocks of the women of the tribe of Daus move while joining around the Al-Khalasa. The Al-Khalasa was the idol of the Daus tribe, which they used to worship in the pre-Islam period of ignorance. Ignorance, excuse me, when women were ruling? I don't think so. In India, they are very far away from Rome but I guess they didn't want any political conflict. So they just split it in several women. In this case, Amavaru is the primordial goddess, and it's combined with Svarasti, Lakshmi, and Parvati. But Amavaratu is the mother. She existed before the beginning of time. So what they did is they took the one single goddess that is combined with several attributes and facets, and each facet, every aspect, personality of this goddess is divided in several deities. The history of one of our grandmothers is very well preserved here, but her history is splitted in several characters. So, what do you think? Constantine the Great, was it right? Was it wrong? What he did? Judge by yourself. In the next episode, we will talk about time, clocks, because you decide to reset the calendar to day number 0. But equinoxes, solstices, the season of the year, the natural cycles of the earth, the universe doesn't care how you measure the time. The universe continues without you. So they don't only have the task to erase the past, they have to measure the time. So tools and methods to adapt to your new calendar were necessary. So measurement time was the next priority. During the years, masterpieces of calendars and devices were created. This three-click King's clock in Strasbourg is unique. And that's the reason why this region of Alsacia, Strasbourg, has always been in dispute between these two countries, Germany and France, because this clock is unique. It has a mathematical model that can forecast 2000 years in advance. Mathematical model that can forecast information. Information is power. So, the next time I will study in detail what this clock can do. Until next time, bye bye.